fucking gross.
Wouldn't it be Caking Show Crew since we're in America?
Caking Show? Oh yeah, why did they change the name?
Don't they change it for just America?
It's
Run and get the sheriff. It's the Cowboy Crew.
Johnson or
Procter and Gamble.
Procter and Gamble.
Yeah, so we're on TV now.
Oh,
All of the
hi.
networks. To talk about episode 2 of The Bake Off, which was on last night in America.
Last night in America.
A country in crisis.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
In these
Can I
trying
say-
times.
Right off the bat, Florentines sound disgusting.
Yeah.
It
They're
sounds
pretty good, right?
horrible. That you have dried fruit and nuts and caramel and chocolate.
I think it's the dried fruit.
I
that is
don't think they
good.
always have dried fruit.
But a lot of them put dried fruit in it, and they were like, "Oh, it's caramel with dried mango and white chocolate."
They fucking love dried fruit.
They do. British people love putting dried fruit in things. Why?
One of them had an especially like fruity looking one, and they were like, "This is inspired by my grandma," and I was like, "Yeah."
I mean, a Florentine is a grandma-ass cookie.
So maybe I'm thinking of a different cookie. I think I'm thinking of a cookie that's like mostly caramel, crispy, mostly caramel, layers of chocolate on the bottom.
That sounds good.
It
The
seems like
thing
these
that
are
they were
mostly
making
nuts.
was like trail mix, but in a combination and proportion that I was not excited about.
And they seem to be more familiar with Florentines than with macaroons somehow, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah!
The macaroons were perplexing.
That's weird.
Well, right off the bat with so we have fucking Rowan this episode.
Oh my God.
As I predicted, this show, he's promising more and getting worse.
This has never happened before. It never happened like a concept professor that just never does what he's going to say.
He's certainly never doing what he's going to say, and he's just happy as a clam not doing it. Like, he's watching himself fuck up on international TV, and he's like,
Yeah.
of course I couldn't do
knows.
it.
He
Which,
said, I shall endeavor to take
Yeah,
their
that's
advice.
the thing that I wrote down that he said.
As if it's difficult to
When
just...
he
tone it
said that,
down.
I was like, he's going home this week.
is the fucking where he made cookies, like his first Florentines, which had like green bits in them, which looked horrifying. And he was like trying to do his like little ugly waistcoats, and they were they were homophobic cookies. They were.
How bad must Mac's flavors be for him to go home?
We're skipping to the end, but like this game is rigged and the producers have an agenda because there is no way Mac did like not great, but not as bad as Rowan.
No way. There's no way.
It had to be a flavor thing because they did say to Rowan all that in, I think it was the Lighthouse or whatever, like the flavors are good. What are we gonna do with you? You're not playing.
Yeah. But Mac came in second in the technical.
Yeah.
And Rowan came last. Dead last in the
So
technical.
weird.
It makes no sense.
Also, he doesn't know what a cat turd looks like. He kept talking about how his macaroons look like cat turds. No, they just look like bad cookies.
The cat's lavatory.
Because he could never say like
No.
There
Lavatory?
must have been a producer behind the camera in every shot that he's in, being like, Just keep doing what you're doing. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
you don't-
This is such great shit.
Maybe they're
Hollywood
trying to
doesn't do
provoke.
anything.
They want to see Paul Hollywood like have to lose it on somebody. I guess it's been a long time since he's actually been mean in any way, and they're like
in this season. Yeah, like there's really. I don't know. I mean, I guess once in the last episode, he did pull out it is bitter and it is burned.
He hasn't gone back to "Don't eat this, Mary."
Yeah, there's not a full on "Don't eat that, Mary" moment.
It does feel like there's been a long time of like, oh, isn't it funny how nice Paul's being because he's the mean one, and no actual mean anything from Paul. He's been a teddy bear.
I feel like the show, especially this one, where this is the most awkward crew we've ever had.
There's a lot of deer in the headlights looks.
Most awkward, uncomfortable fucking people. Usually it's like, you got like a 70-30 or a 60-40 where like the smaller group of people are just like, oh no. And then you have a lot of people that are like normal to sometimes even like charming or cute, because you had people like Nadia who was like fun and beautiful and like had like a really good arc, or Tamal, or you've had a legion of, there's always like at least one like very hot woman. There have been a lot of people where you're like, yeah, I like you, you're doing good. And this one I'm like, is our most human the Viking woman? Is that the best that we can do, is the fucking Viking?
Yeah, it's a lot on her shoulders.
And she's also like,
her personality is interesting.
There are a couple of pretty normie
who
types. Was the blonde lady who really fucked up something?
That doesn't.
Juggernaut.
What's her name?
Juggernaut.
Juggernaut.
That's what I came up with that one last night. Actually, I'm surprised I called Mac and not Wolfman, but my heart like broke so much for him.
Fully wearing this was shot this summer. He was fully wearing a full turtleneck sweater.
Yeah, because he's a wolf that walks upright, and so he doesn't want anyone to see all of the hair on his neck, and people would be like, "Oh, that really is the Wolfman."
They also showed him writing his novel on a typewriter,
finishing the first draft. Actually, the camera came in and he went, "First draft in the bag."
That novel has to be awful. Nobody writes a novel on a typewriter in 2020.
He bakes all these things and he has children, and somehow he finds the time to write a novel. And I was like, yeah, it's clearly shitty.
We'll never get to learn what it's about now. I feel like maybe they were like hoping to
like he was
that out.
Reveal it piecemeal. That like after he wins his first Star Baker, he would be like, "This is just like the first climax in my book about space."
We'll have to have
when the werewolf wins the baking competition.
We'll have to invite him to do an interview.
And then he transformed. Well, there is the post. I don't know if they're still doing it, but that they were doing that post Bake Off show with that mean old redhead woman that's funny.
Jo Brand.
Yes.
Oh, Jo Brand's awesome.
And she had one. Have y'all seen this?
No.
It's a show that happens immediately after or at least was, I don't know if it is now, airing immediately after Bake Off, where the person who lost would come on and they would bake something, like they would bake something, and then she would just interview them.
Whoa.
But a lot of times it was about like, you lost, huh? Because you did bad. She's just very mean to them.
She's great because she's like such a weird old woman that it's not mean. Like even when she's being mean, there's still this lovable, fluffy, cranky old lady thing. You can't get mad at her for being mean.
I mean, and also like the only ones that I've watched had like, who is our favorite? Our favorite child baker? Cheeky baker.
The young British girl?
No, boy.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
the guy with the slight speech impediment?
No,
No.
it was like Malcolm or
No.
something.
Damn it.
I don't remember his name.
Anyway, it was him. He's like everybody, and he fucking shit, man. I can't.
Here, I'll find it out. Just keep going.
Well, anyway, like he came on, but he was like one of the most sweet and delightful. The dog is there. You go. So like it was fun where they were like, "Oh, you fucked up in that one." He's like, "I did." Oh, dang it! Like usually it's like that, but I don't know how it would be with any of these people because they're all just sort of like
They look freaked out a lot.
they look so freaked out, and also people have only made things that sound disgusting and are ugly. Nobody has made any food that sounds like it would taste good, and also nobody has made any food that looks good.
It all looks like shit. Every single thing looks like total garbage.
I was trying to think, like, did anyone stand out in the first one? And I guess, like, so Wesley Crusher on Poppers won the technical in the first one, and that was like all I could come up with. Like, I guess he's good.
Sure. The pasty Hardy Boy.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's gonna die
Howdy.
in war.
howdy doody. It's like so he's clearly one to watch, and then Lottie got the handshake.
Right.
So, and I feel like that stupid leprechaun is creeping up, and he's like getting hot. Oh, and then the painfully generic man who won technical this time. What is his
The
name?
serial killer.
Dave.
You wanna
Dave.
call?
Yeah.
He
Dave-
have you? We
Oh,
realized.
Blink
he does
Fan.
things-
That's his nickname. Is Blink Fan.
Oh,
He did the
He-
Blink 182.
Oh, right.
Oh, he
cake.
was the blink guy?
Yeah,
He-
that.
he has the look of he has bodies in his basement. Like
Mhm.
he does a body thing that we realize.
Yeah, whenever
this?
he's like,
Which what the fuck? Does he not know that he's doing it, or is it like a thing where he's like, "I'm fun"?
that's his pleased.
He just likes it.
It is. It's a.
I will be
pleased
most
mood.
pleased. The boy you were trying to think of is Liam.
Yeah,
Liam!
Liam has a slight speech impediment. He has like a tiny bit of a lisp.
Oh, well, apparently he is a presenter on Bake Off: The Professionals and a judge on the new Junior Bake Off.
Oh,
he was
that-
a delightful young man.
That's
Yeah,
Yeah.
there have been a lot of people on Bake Off where I'm like, they seem nice, or like I like them, and then there have been a small handful where I'm like, they are stars, like Nadia, Liam, Tamal, there were
Ruby.
two-
Ruby should have her own show.
I think Ruby hates things too much.
Yeah, Ruby is.
That's
Ruby's
why
got
I want to
lots.
see her on a show.
I also feel like Ruby would only have a panic attack every. I mean,
Ruby
so
was
maybe
the best
it's on
crier.
reality television.
I think Ruby was actually instrumental in Paul Hollywood being a nicer person because she, after the show, called him out for being like a misogynist prick.
Oh,
Wow, that's
Yeah.
cool.
yeah, she did. She had a whole article that she wrote where she was like, he's trash and treats everybody poorly
He brought his like 20-year-old girlfriend to set, and
while he was still married.
yeah, and like
Ruby should have stole that girlfriend because she coulda.
Yeah, I mean, easily.
Whoa. He liked her? He had a crush?
There was a really interesting thing where people in like the British press or whatever were accusing Paul and Ruby of flirting and saying Ruby was like getting extra sympathy by flirting with Paul. And then when the show was over, Ruby was like, "I'm gay, you motherfuckers. I was gay the whole time. Fuck you."
and I hate Paul Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
I mean,
probably why she wrote the articles, because she's like, please don't think that this creep is like my friend.
Yeah.
I-
I know she's done like a cooking book because I followed her on Twitter, but she does like her Twitter contains all of the bipolar ups and downs of her amazing arc on Bake Off.
Nice.
amazing.
Yeah.
I am curious.
It's pretty good.
He was really going through it.
Yeah.
She was really going through it.
Do we haven't? Nobody seems to really be losing it yet. I mean, like Rowan is falling
Right,
apart,
see,
but
Rowan-
he's having a blast.
Yeah. That's the weird thing where like Rowan is doing maybe the worst I've ever seen. No, do y'all remember there was that weird, a couple years back, there was that weird hottie girl who would, like hottie as in like that kind of thing. And she she had like 9 million hobbies where it's like she's a blacksmith and she loves succulents and she kind of dressed like a different subculture every single episode.
Oh yeah, I remember her.
Snap. I just remembered there's 2 Rubies now too, and we were talking about Tando, not Bogal.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
but the
I
other
should-
Ruby was also a hot woman.
Yeah, although she was more of a robot. She didn't have the like emotional emotional period of Ruby Tando.
The more recent Ruby, no, she was sort of like I felt like she had more of a comeback for stuff that like when they would be like, you're not doing well, she'd be like, you're not fucking doing well. Like she
was the did she
Ruby just, like crumbled.
Did she beat Kate Hardwick? Is that the year that they had the crossing things where like Kate Hardwick was amazing, and as it got closer to the final, she got more and more nervous and was making worse bakes, and then Ruby Bogal was like,
you mean Kim Joy?
Yeah, Kim Joy.
But also there was or was that the same year as this is like the full Bake Off retrospective at this point. What about that girl with those really heavy bangs? Y'all remember Bangs?
Oh yeah, no, she was the one that melted down completely in the final.
That was the thing. She was the favorite to win, and in the last one, she lost it.
She was perfect the whole season.
She won
was
last year.
Flawless.
She did win?
Wait, maybe.
No, Steph did not win.
No, she lost the final, I thought.
Because she was doing really good, and the pressure visibly got to her in the last episode, and she was like having a panic attack while cooking.
Yeah, and she had been flawless before that.
Like, she'd been on a streak. She'd won Star Baker like 3 or 4 weeks in a row, and yeah, really.
Anyway, this fucking season, these guys. I'm sure as we learn, hopefully, about these people.
I feel like we've had a couple of really good years where, like, immediately, like, we meet the cast and we're like, yeah, okay, already, I'm loving this person, I hate this person, like, where it's very clear, where all of this is just sort of like they were really just finding the most awkward fucking people that were willing to do this. Maybe because they were like, if you do this, you have to go to our weird self-contained biodome for however long. That
and it's
all of the, like,
anyway.
that like all of their top picks were like, I don't want to do the biodome thing, and so maybe all of them are alternates.
Oh,
that's why the baking is also bad. Is that like all of the like top pick, like fun, interesting, able to be on camera, good at cooking people were like, I'm not going to live in a biodome with you for 2 months. And then they were left with all the like weird thirsty people that were like, I'll do it. I'm only a part-time carer.
A part-time carer.
But do we all agree that Matt Lucas is doing a good job?
Yeah, he's pretty fun.
They're getting warmed up together. It feels like they're like he and Noel are finding something.
I feel like they're individually doing well. Mm-hmm. And if anything, Matt Lucas is sort of like, Noel is a little low energy and Matt is kind of outshining him. And I feel like they haven't really linked up yet. That like Matt is doing better. Noel is like a little bit kind of like sleepy.
Noel's does seem sleepy.
It's a
well, so did you hear the reason why Matt Lucas got hired for this season?
No.
Noel apparently had a dream in which he was co-hosting Bake Off with Matt Lucas, and then instead of going to the producers and saying, hey, you know who would maybe be good at this? Or you know who I had a dream about doing this? Matt Lucas. He said, you know who would be good at this? Matt Lucas. So like he was just like, whatever, this dream is a sign, let's call this guy. And they did, and it worked out.
Whoa.
Oh, sorry, go on.
I say I like what Matt Lucas. It does seem like they're they're getting warmed up, but I like what he's doing so far. He's
very weird, but he's still very nice.
I feel like he's doing the thing that kind of threw off Sandy and Noel was that I think they were trying to replicate Mel and Sue's energy, but Mel and Sue had been a comedy team that knew each other very well for a long time. Sandy and Noel obviously did not have that kind of chemistry. So I feel like they eventually got to a good place, but it took them a while. And I think...
And then Sandy was like, all right, I'm good.
And then she was gone. And But I feel like part of what was slowing them down was that they were trying to do what Mel and Sue did, down to the like on your market set bake in that same kind of way. And I like that Matt Lucas is kind of like actively ruining those things, that like those moments that are supposed to be these set moments, he's like intentionally fucking up. Where it feels like he's kind of hitting a hard reset on like, yeah, I'm not any of the people who have done this before me. I'm just this new weird guy. And like, this is how I'm going to interact with people, and this is how I'm going to introduce these things, and this is the kind of humor that I'm going to bring. And he is like very sweet. He's not like making anybody uncomfortable, but he's taking a really different approach to that than anybody has before.
He can do a neat thing to make people comfortable, where he's like, I am a huge freak. Like, don't you worry about how freaky you might feel right now, because I'm the freaky one here. And I feel like we've seen that kind of like put down some nerves already.
Yeah, I think there's been the very grumpy woman who I think is probably the favorite to win, Sura.
Oh, is she the favorite to win?
I think so. So far, she's been.
She was the one that knocked the.
Yes, well, I think that's the thing. She's fucking competitive as shit. She will destroy anybody. But, I think so far she's been the person that like most has had the best track record of like her stuff, even when it's not high marks, is always like, she has like a steady baseline of like, it's bare minimum gonna taste good and be functional. Sometimes it will be ugly or a little weird, but like it will be something good, as opposed to like making something great and making something horrible, or like making shit that looks crazy or making shit that tastes disgusting. Like I feel like she's setting a strong foundation for herself, but she seems really grumpy, and I don't know if I like that or not.
It was cool as hell when Noel went in on her and was like, who you gonna knock over this week? And he wouldn't let it go. That was so good.
Or when they told her, like, when they were bringing up their stuff for the technical, and he was like, you have to hang back, and she did it, and then he was like, I'm fucking with you.
She seems like a loose cannon of some sort.
I feel like she's sort of doing, because there have been people on before that have like more of that like fuck y'all kind of energy, but I feel like theirs has been like a little bit more like good natured and fun. Like I think like Nadia brought a lot of like kind of like slightly bitchy but in a fun way energy, but it didn't feel like, hers feels a lot more like, I'm mad at you and I don't want to be here, in a way that like other people have been like, I'm sorry, I'm kind of stressed out.
So maybe we should actually go through the contestants, and since we haven't, there are a couple that have really stood out to us, but maybe we can kind of like talk about some of the other ones so that they don't fall.
I would argue that Howdy Doody is I feel like the safe money bet right now, because he's had Paul kind of like overpraising. I mean, I haven't tasted the thing. Perhaps it's not over, but he's very vocal about how good that guy is. He called him smart on this one. He's like, your ideas are so smart.
First off, I think that Paul has a weirdly, like, the thing that like disarms him is when somebody is sad and nervous. That like when a person is like, oh, he's like, hey, actually, it's fine. You know what? The fact that this sucks and isn't baked and is disgusting, like, don't be so hard on yourself. And if somebody is confident, then like the claws come out. If somebody is proud of themselves, then he'll be like, but you fucking burnt this corner. So I think like part of it is like that he's like a delicate, translucent baby who's just like a shuddering, freshly hatched baby bird.
He makes me so uncomfortable. I don't like looking at him.
He's very milky.
His video package was like the first one in the show, I think. Did you see that? When it's like him and his brother, the badminton boys, are running. Yeah. And the first words of it were, after pounding. Like, that's how that video started. Was after pounding.
No fucking sexual.
So pale, so sad.
So flowers in the attic.
They are really pushing that. I was shocked that we went
It's always
right back
them
there with him.
in like an open field alone, like just them out doing some kind of like physical exertion. And the brother is much cuter than the contestant boy, and so the brother is always like confidently doing the sport, and the brother is always like slightly poorly doing the sport while watching. I want, and I know that a lot of people will frown upon this, but I want them to date. I think if they love each other, they should be able to be open.
I mean, their parents probably share DNA. I mean,
they're British.
It's not a big
Why
island.
the fuck not?
Yeah.
Who are we to judge? We don't know the British customs.
Yeah, sometimes you fuck your brother.
Just sometimes.
No chance of making a baby. So.
Yeah, I mean, if that's it seems fine.
It's really more of a psychological problem than a health problem.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And who are we to judge?
See, here's the thing. I'm not fucking joking. Like, if they love each other, then I want them to be there.
I mean, the way to do it is to just keep where they're at here with after pounding off the pavement, his brothers, like, just keep it at that level, and then when he wins, he and the brother, full French.
Then can be, like, I've ascended.
Like, yeah, and then the credits roll over top of them, just making out, and that's it. See you next year.
I'm genuinely not mad about it.
That's how Big Mouth
Also,
gets canceled finally.
is that they showed two siblings having sex.
Yeah, the gay angle is just like, man, I think we jumped the shark here.
Or maybe it'll like open a whole new movement.
British TV did just clear the benchmark of showing an erect penis on TV. What? They did that like 2 weeks ago or so. There was a show about penises and like people's relationships to them, and some photographer taking pictures of dudes naked and like interviewing them, and so it was the first ever historic television broadcasting of a boner.
All right.
Yeah. I guess it wasn't doing anything, it wasn't involved in an activity, but it was being itself unashamed.
It was involved in education. That's an activity.
That seems. Yeah. I mean,
an exhibition
like
also.
Way to do it, to be like, this is Also, I have another before we go through all the contestants, I have another theory about Milk Child, which is, so his outfit this week, navy button-up, red, white, and navy sweater in the summer, and then to compensate for that, fucking purple shorts, and then some sort of like black slip-on sneaker with no socks. What I believe is that each morning he and his brother have their clothes, a full outfit laid out by their mom. Mm-hmm. And that his mom packed him a suitcase, but he has never assembled an outfit for himself.
Never coordinated an outfit in his life.
And so he's just pulling shit out, just putting on clothes, having no concept of how to make them into like a reasonable thing to wear. Where he's just like, right, a shirt and a sweater, but it's hot, so shorts, and I'm just gonna put these shoes. Like, I am curious to see what this child's fashion is, because if it continues in this mode, then that will validate my theory. That like that you're working your way from the top to the bottom.
Yeah.
That like you put on a fall outfit and then you were like, fuck, it's June. And so I'm just gonna put on shorts.
I bet the summer there is like between like 65 and 75 degrees. Right?
It's still a stupid outfit though. Like, why would you just wear this? Like, just the sweater and the shorts would clash and look stupid, but at least like that wouldn't be like 2 layers. You need 2 layers.
True. Yeah, 2 layers on top, shorts on bottom makes no sense. You want one long layer. Like, in the summer, if it's 70 degrees, you're not wearing a sweater. You're wearing a long sleeved shirt.
My my elementary school gym coach wore every single day, no matter the weather, a sweatshirt with a collared shirt under it and like shorts, like mid thigh shorts.
Hell yeah!
He's like a hairy guy. He had a mustache. He was
This
awesome.
this sounds like a Tom of Finland band.
Maybe he's probably married. I don't know.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I kind of want to wear it today.
He's a great gym coach.
I feel like the thing that works there is the sluttiness of the shorts. where you're-
Exactly.
I'm not
Exactly.
confused. I'm making a choice. I'm going to
Exactly.
wear like this is intentional. Nothing about Milk Child's outfit said intentional to me.
Mhm. Yeah, it's the shorty shorts. What were the socks? Do you remember what was going on with the socks?
No socks. That's
None.
part
Oh,
of
right,
no
yeah, you said no
fucking
socks. Sorry.
It
Or
didn't seem.
if he's wearing them like he's wearing like no show socks, which
I also, it also looked to
That
me
was
like
intention.
I don't think Lottie wore socks either. It didn't seem like she was.
I
She has
didn't
like
see
white
it.
Keds or something on, no socks.
wasn't she wearing like a black dress?
Yeah, and then like white, totally white, plain Keds ass shoes, no socks on. I guess it's clearly not that hot in there yet. But I usually associate Bake Off with extreme heat because there's always some episode later on where everyone's
You know what,
bakes
though?
messed
Have you
up by
ever-
the heat.
Have you ever converted any of those temperatures when they say like it's incredibly hot in the? Because we have before, and there have been times where they're like
It's 80
a
degrees.
massively hot day, and it has been like 76 degrees. I'm not kidding. There was one where they were talking about it being so hot, and we looked it up, like what is the conversion on this, and it was mid to high 70s, which
Ugh.
like, y'all, I can't.
Yeah, I mean,
You gotta, yeah, you have to have, listen, the truth is, global warming isn't going anywhere, so you gotta get some thicker skin when it comes to hot temperatures.
That's the fucking thing that we're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough when you live in a country that's historically been cold and rainy and miserable.
So it's never been 76 degrees there before.
Terrible place.
All right, so should we go through the contest?
Yeah.
talks?
Let's talk through.
I'm gonna grab my water, but I'll be right back.
All right. Yeah.
I
let's
think
talk
those
through-
video packages of them at home are getting more insane. There was a couple that, I mean, almost all of them this episode had like really puzzling elements.
Have you ever noticed that every time they showed so did you notice, and you'll have to go back because it was quick. So Rowan's video package for this one is that he's in his house, like polishing an antique, whatever, and he's sitting in a big overstuffed chair, and there's a huge fucking stain, just like a big wet stain over a bit, and it's not just like a color, it's like a chunk with like little spot, like
It looks like someone pissed on it.
yeah, like pissed, or like he like had a cup of coffee and like ugh, and then like just sat down in the chair without cleaning it up and was then just like polished. It's the most confounding. There's a huge fucking stain.
I have
Which,
to go
like,
back.
And there are multiple chairs in that room too, so it seems like how fucked up is the rest of you? Either how did you not notice that you were sitting in a disgusting fucked up chair? Or how fucked up is the rest of your house that this was the best setup we could get?
You're talking about Rowan?
Yeah.
I was thinking about how he's definitely not actually fancy. He's definitely
No!
fake fancy.
Oh no, he's a person who learned about being fancy from like Scrooge McDuck and 80s movies.
Exactly. And Frasier.
Yes. Oh my god,
Probably a
from
big Frasier fan.
his word choice, the waistcoats, which
Mhm.
that fucking waistcoat is the ugliest
Yeah.
garment.
I was
I
like,
can't-
okay, he has a dozen waistcoats. So, like, being fancy is a gimmick. It's like his little, like, oh, you know, when he was like 12, he got one, and everyone was like, you look so sharp. And then he was just like, oh, waistcoats are my thing. Like,
I've
Like,
I've got another Rowan quote, which was, "I hardly dare breathe."
Oh,
That's like,
He's got to script himself or something. Like,
oh my god,
nobody talks like that.
He must write. Even British people. He's
No.
too British for British people.
not even in a classic novel do people speak like that.
there's a Catherine Tate character. If you guys are familiar, Catherine Tate is a lot like Matt Lucas in the prosthetics and catchphrases game of Britain.
He
Yeah.
did that. What was that really gross, amazing comedy show that you told us about?
Yeah, she did a lot like Little Britain, but with her she's just a fucking maniac. She was on The Office later in the American Office.
Oh yeah.
But she wasn't nearly as crazy
Offer.
as the Catherine Tate show. But she has a character that is like kind of Rowan-y, except he's like bald, this little tiny shriveled man who acts extremely effeminate, and then at some point, like, and so whoever he's interacting with at some point kind of like insinuates that he might be gay in a friendly way. You know, it's like, oh, I know a bar you might want to go to, and then the little man is like gets livid, and his catchphrase is, "How very dare you!" It's like, me gay? No, sir. Me, sir? No, sir. And then that's the joke of the character is that he puts up this big, extremely gay resistance to being called gay.
We're gonna have to have a whole separate Rowan-based segment.
Hopefully, only next week because he's gotta go. He's gotta go.
Again, the game is rigged.
No,
the game is rigged.
They're going to keep him as long as possible.
He's going to win.
He's not going to win. He's going to scrape by for at least 2 or 3 more episodes.
I just can't. Because, like, the whole time we were watching, it was like, well, he's going to have to go. He has to go. He's fucked up every single thing. And he's fucked it up 9 times worse than anybody else. Mm-hmm. And then they were like, well, but Mac, his teapots were all square. It's like,
who cares? All right, let's talk about the contestants.
All right.
All right. So first up is Dave, aka
Blink Fan,
serial
or
killer
Blink
Dave.
Fan.
Blink Fan.
Serial killer.
In this bio, it says so he's 30 years old. He is an armored guard.
Oh.
And he bakes at least once a week, always while listening to his favorite punk rock bands.
Ooh.
Being an armored guard is the least punk job that you could have.
He's a cop, or he's like a rent-a-cop like person who like takes the cash from like a grocery store.
Yeah,
I
think he probably does like cash pickups and stuff.
Or maybe he's in a mech suit.
Let's hope.
Like on standby.
British names for jobs are so.
That's true. They do call everything dumb.
Yeah, an armored guard there is
like or a mercenary.
Yeah,
and he goes out and like fucking kills people.
Has a terrible secret. He has weird shoulder movements.
Yeah.
And likes pop punk, I guess.
Great.
Yeah, I guess we've been. I don't know. He's mostly just. There's something weird about him.
Yeah, he's concerning. He was like the pleased movement. He's frequently very pleased.
Yeah.
And that's the only word to use for it. And that specific emotion is nasty.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, we got next up. We got Hermine
is that the host seems to say Herman, like Pee Wee Herman.
I thought it was like I thought they kind of like had a silent-ish H on that.
Her video package was amazing. It was about how she's studying some difficult thing, and they showed a clip of her opening to the first page of the book, and then they immediately cut to her going, "Okay, that's enough for today. Time for a break."
Yeah. That was and I think
she's also the one where she got on the skateboard,
and her son said, "What are you doing?"
I guess it would be Hermine. She's from West Africa, and there's a lot of French influence there. So Hermine.
Yeah, her accent is wild. It's not like anything I've ever heard.
Yeah.
You know what? She's a person who it seems like her stuff has looked wild but tasted good the whole time. Like every time they go to her, like it looks bonkers, but then they're like, but it is good.
This bio says that she is a dab hand at sourdough and a notorious feeder with an infectious laugh. A notorious feeder.
What the fuck?
Whoa.
That sounds intense.
That's a kink.
Yeah, it is. I used to.
I mean, I'm sure it does not mean the same thing there, or they did not mean it that way. Also, a dab hand?
A dab hand.
Which it can't be the outdated children.
This is how she does. She makes her bread.
I can't. Just resurrecting the trends of yesteryear.
Yeah. And she did okay in this episode, right? Or
all of her stuff looked buck, but tasted good.
Right.
She's also a deer in the headlights kind of person.
She does seem nervous, although I did like that Matt Lucas, there was a moment where Matt Lucas was over talking to her and called Noel over, and he was like, hey, so Ermine says that she's a fan of my comedy. Do you know who Noel is? And she's like,
I didn't know Noel did comedy.
yeah, and then Matt was like making a little, it was fun. I thought it was a good
and then he said, actually Noel's one of the Britain's most popular children's entertainers.
Yeah,
so
like
that's so good.
Maybe their dynamic is going to be like weirdly antagonistic.
I was so cute. I was really happy about that because Matt Lucas was like taking pleasure in it. He thought it was so
I mean
funny.
it was a good moment, and it was also clear that like she really did not know who Noel was, other than like the guy on Bake Off.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably what he is to a lot of because I feel like his comedy was pretty niche, unless you're like really into Big Fat Quiz or something.
Yeah. I think he's probably around enough that people would probably have like a passing.
He's a distinctive.
And he's.
You'll never forget him.
Yeah, like
I bet there's a bunch of like Cockney people who just think he's Russell Brand when they see him.
Oh shit!
Maybe
they don't know they're two different people.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they've been partners on Big Fat Quiz,
and don't really look all that similar, other than being like quasi-gothy white men.
They're like dudes who you know are going to the club to see like slight, almost peaking indie bands, like a band that's going to be like really huge in a couple of months. And
definitely guys who wear eyeliner as a rule.
Which I was also trying to think. I can't think of I'm wondering what Noel looks like without eyeliner. Because I'm trying to remember if I've ever seen him with it not on.
He's a man who wears eyeliner.
You know what? I think so. In IT Crowd, when they go back and do his character's backstory, where he was a normal guy and then he became a goth and then he lost his job because of it.
Probably not wearing eyeliner.
I think when he's playing the normal version of himself, he's not wearing eyeliner, and it looks weird.
All right, next up we got Laura.
That lady.
The Juggernaut? Is that who you're calling the Juggernaut?
I think that's acceptable. That was the thing watching last night that I felt like, it's just it's just referring to that she has Juggernaut-like quality, presence, the presence.
She's apparently married to a cop and loves musical theater.
That cop's gonna kill you, Ryan.
We saw the cop. We saw them putting food into each other's mouths in their video package in the backyard.
What was weird about that, though, was that they had a full fucking pizza oven in their backyard. They had a full brick pizza oven.
Mm-hmm. And they have a little sign that says, like, I don't know what their last name was, like the Smith's Beer Garden or whatever.
That makes if she's married to a cop, all of this makes sense.
She's 31
it makes so much
also,
sense.
so that's like...
Oh, no.
I'm so disturbed by people my age who
look like that?
Who are just like...
Who look like they're in their mid-40s?
Yeah.
I think a big part of it is buying all of your clothes from the British equivalent of like a Ross.
Yeah.
Like, that's definitely all kind of like...
Yeah, and then
Sainsbury's,
we're not
Dixon's
Florentine enough
I don't know.
for Paul.
She used the freaking fucking plastic stand on her.
Right! Yeah. She's the fucking cheater this episode.
Yeah, they're like,
that's not allowed.
That was a great. This thing.
I did there was a really good, very visceral reaction where she brought it up where she was clearly like really proud of herself, and then they were like, "This is just a plastic stand that you wrap cookies around. That's nothing." And like her face when she was like discovered,
fucking devastated.
Yeah, she was so devastated. It was pretty thrilling to be like, because then also that was when they like brought back like, y'all were working on this for 4 fucking hours, and a lot of people are like, I have 2 teacups. It's like, what were you doing?
Wild. We should talk about that because there's this one, at least with the macaroon challenge, they were like, they said right before it, they were like, we actually gave them less time than they need, but this is a competition. And with every single person, they were like, these are underdone. These are done.
They do that a lot, and then it always is that thing where they're like, yeah, we actually we like didn't tell them this important thing that you would not know if you had made this exact thing before, and then nobody does it, and they're like, I can't believe that you didn't.
Why didn't you work it out? Why didn't you make more time to bake this?
They also
Wild.
this evil thing where with one person they were like, your mango's too chewy. You didn't soak it. You need to soak it. And
Right.
And then the
They're
next
like,
person, they're like, oh, you soaked your mango, right? Yeah, that's probably why everything's so wet.
Yeah, it was wild that they like apparently you can't do either thing. Which I guess maybe mango sounds disgusting in that weird food. And so maybe the thing is just don't use it.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's the where they were trying to find a nice way of being like, this is dumb, don't do it.
Yeah.
They might have, each person who did what they did probably did it in the wrong way also. Yeah. But probably like somewhere where like it has to be like the good version.
I feel like too, usually when they do a cookie episode, I don't like everything they made. This was like the worst fucking cookie episode. It's just like, let's make a bunch of
all of the worst and weirdest cookies.
Yeah, like I feel like in the past with a cookie episode, you're getting like actually good cookies, which most people are capable of making pretty easily, so they could really like churn it out and do something cool and interesting, and like, you know, at least for like the, you know, the ones where they're coming up with the recipe. And yeah, and this one is just like, I don't know, I had to make this stupid trash cookie, or I just had to make cookies that could look like plates.
The showstopper for this one I thought was absolutely just beyond stupid. That like this is going to be like, it clearly was way too, they're doing these things now, which I'm not necessarily mad at, where they're picking things that are way too fucking hard, and then like they're clearly doing it so that people will panic and fuck up. But then like, I don't know, I think this one, like they overshot so hard for like, you need to beautifully sculpt a thing out of a material that's not made for sculpting, and you're not good at art, and you're not actually that good at baking yet.
Yeah.
And that like they overshot so hard that people couldn't even do it. They were like, I tried, but I failed to make like this like, I feel like the cake sculpting one last week was like at this perfect level where like it was just hard enough that people were like, but I think I can do this. So I'm going to really try to go and do something, make a statement. I'm going to fuck it up. It's going to be really funny. But this, like, they went so hard into do this wild thing that people were just like, fuck, I guess I could make like the plates could be cookies. And so then like everybody got so scared that they only tried for things that sucked.
Mm-hmm.
And they only like, even the draw, like all of the illustrations of the Showstopper ones were super fucking dumb. And so you just knew like, oh man, this is not going to go well for anybody.
Yeah,
they need to like chill out a little bit and let them do stuff that makes sense. All right, here's our next one. Linda.
Granny No Lips.
Our beach.
Wait, what was your name?
Granny No Lips.
Granny No Lips.
She's got no lips.
Have a lot of lips.
She does have. You were saying something about her being sort of beachy. She is weirdly beachy. She seems like the kind of old person that's polyamorous.
Oh wow!
She's definitely like, a weed head.
She has her partner, and they like having drinks in their shed.
Yeah, they have their weird drinking shed.
They smoke that thing out. They are clam baking that shit.
Are wild because they were in there drinking shit.
Do you want to hear the bio? In this bio, she discovered her passion for baking during her frequent childhood visits to her aunt's dairy farm. She'd help to milk the cows, then carry a bucket of milk into the kitchen, where her aunt taught her to bake cakes topped with rich, creamy icing.
How do they make it sound so gross?
Yeah, it shouldn't be.
Yeah, she likes going to the beach to fish for mackerel and mullet with her partner, which is like mackerel and mullet are both enormous stink ass fish. Like that's like you don't just go to the beach and catch a mullet. Like you have to go out on a boat and catch it with like a net. As context for this, my family is from Florida and they were mullet fishermen. And
Mark comes from fishing stock.
I come from mullet fisher people, and there's no way this lady goes out. I don't know. Maybe they've got small dumb mullet in England, and in the Gulf of Mexico, it's like
small dumb mullet.
Yeah, if you want a beefy mullet, you got to go to the Gulf.
I like that you're going in on this gross old woman.
I think
for lie. You think that what would she have to gain by lying about catching fish?
See, her partner is the mullet like enthusiast, and then Granny No Lips, Linda, goes along and like rolls joints and just hangs out on the boat rolling joint after joint.
They do. They have a like weed smoking polyamorous old person vibe.
Like when she had to do the piping on her showstopper, she was like, "This is my favorite part," and they showed this real complicated little like stencil or something she was piping on, and it was like, this is clearly a weed person's favorite part of this challenge.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, I get to concentrate on this little thing, make these little tiny icings. Like she is such a blazer.
Is her favorite celebrity.
Like, oh yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, and she's too high to really listen to the lyrics. She's just kind of like
just sort of there.
Summarize them. Yeah, like be happy, don't worry. Yeah, that stuff. I like it with that.
She's
bass.
an old person, so she probably hasn't actually listened to music since she was younger, listening to Bob Marley when he was like out.
Yeah.
So she was like in her weed hazed memory. She was like, "Yeah, don't worry, be happy." I remember like going to the concert and smoking weed to that song.
Do you still like the idea that she instead was into the guy that had the "Don't Worry, Be Happy" song?
Bobby McFerrin.
Just got them confused.
She has very strong Parrot Head vibe.
Yes.
She's almost certainly a Jimmy Buffett fan.
Singing in Britain though? Did they
are there any British Jimmy Buffett fans?
Yeah,
that's a really good question. That's maybe a good character that someone should invent.
That's an amazing character.
The British Parrot Head. Yeah.
And it should be like a scousy, Geordie kind of like gutter Britain too.
And I want him to really like not understand. I want it to be a very like a lot of things are lost in translation, but the British guy's just like so excited that he doesn't mind.
He goes to Brighton like once a year and really just tries to live it up like he's in the keys.
Gets stabbed by chavs.
All right, we got Lottie, the
everyman,
the first Hollywood handshake.
Yeah.
Did you you were completely, I had not thought about this before. The video packages are insane because her thing was like, isn't it sad that her grandparents live up the street and she hasn't been able to hug them? And then it was them like out on their apartment and her screaming up to the being like, "Hi! I'll FaceTime you later." Which why did you walk over there?
It was so clearly not a thing that has ever happened before, and she was like,
"Well, I think it's probably the producers were like, oh, your grandparents live like down the way. Let's go wave at them for the video." And then like she was like, "Oh, hey guys, I'll like FaceTime you later when they're not videotaping me
to explain why I'm yelling at you right now." Like the grandparents are like, "What?"
It was sort of like one sort of B-roll shot of them being like. And then,
they probably weren't
next to like a busy interstate too. Like,
not a place for pedestrians.
Them in the house, and then like her with like cars rushing by.
I guess that's
the M1.
Sussex is
probably gross.
I mean, it seems like there are probably only a few places in England that look like the Shire at this point. The rest of it just looks like shitty apartments next to an interstate.
Yeah,
well, up by Leeds, that's where you want to go.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, Lottie, I don't really understand her. She's not gothy enough to have gone actually goth, you know?
Yeah. But she's not goth. But she's also like trying to slip in goth shit. Or is it? So this is the thing that I've been curious / worried about. Is she like a goth metal person that got into Vikings through that? Or is it that she exclusively loves Vikings and gets like bits of like goth and metal things because there's like a big overlap there? Like, is it that she just loves Vikings and is taking things from other subcultures that connect to Vikings?
Right.
Because that's way fucking weirder than just being like a like halfway grown out of it goth person.
Her attitude is so strange. She's like not really impressed by anything or anyone, but she's not like proud either. She seems to be pretty hard on herself.
Yeah, I kind of don't get her whole deal.
Yeah, she doesn't even flirt with Noel Good.
No, he's maybe, I guess she is, of the people that you are going to flirt with, she would probably be the only one.
Maybe she's too old for him.
Maybe.
She's really
Noel really hits it off with the young ones.
He does love the young.
You don't think he's flirting with blonde, the blonde one?
Which one is the
husband?
one?
With the husband, the cop husband, yeah.
With the cop husband? I don't.
Yeah, I feel like he's kind of flirting with her.
Oh.
I mean, Mark pointed out last night, like, kind of his way of interacting with people is flirty.
Absolutely.
But, like, kind of for everybody, it's flirty. He was doing a thing where, like, he was talking with her about, like, he was giving Viking Girl kind of a lot, where he was like, what was it like to have, like Paul's, like, big sausagey hand around your little, and then he paused for a second.
Yeah.
And then it's like your E.T. fingers, where it was like, clearly he was going to say something a little bit more.
He was going to say minge.
Or at least like your like little delicate hand, but then he changed it to, but he clearly had a pause where he had to stop himself, and then she was like, oh no, I didn't feel anything, which, like, okay, thanks.
He said, I felt nothing.
Yeah, and then he was sort of like,
so you're dead inside.
yeah, I think he pretty much was just like, really nothing. She's like, yeah, nothing, and then he's like, all right, bye.
Yeah. All right, so we got Wolfman and Mac, who in this picture is not wearing a turtleneck, and you can see his perfectly normal human neck.
Uh-huh. Well, but isn't it interesting he was killed on the full moon? Was full moon last night.
And it was a live show that we were watching, so.
I think part of it, it's hard not to look, if you have a small forehead, like a low hairline and thick eyebrows, it kind of gives you more of that, especially if you have facial hair.
He's got a great head.
He's got everything going he's like, there's nothing about his appearance that deviates from Wolfman. The angle of the ears is like, that alone, if you didn't want to look like a Wolfman, you would plan around that, you know? And he's clearly steering into the skin. But because
your hair out a little bit so they cover the pointiness.
Constantly wear a headband wrong.
Well, not like curate the rest of your face to be as wolfy as possible, like with his facial hair. He's got
curate your face.
Yeah, it is wolfiest facial hair, and then you hit that with the angle of the ears. He's the Wolfman. He is the one.
Maybe like many professional wrestlers, he's a big Wolverine guy, and he's like, if I have this, I'm not gonna not lean into it.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad look. I just think it must be intentional. At a certain point, he must have been like, they're gonna call me Wolfman anyway. I'm gonna give them a Wolfman.
Sad. He seemed nice. His wild video package thing where he was like,
first draft completed. We'll just put this in the drawer to send to my publisher. Why didn't they give us a clue about what it was about?
No one in their right mind would use a typewriter in 2020.
I feel like he is like self-published and put it on Amazon, and then they were like, you wrote a book? And he was like, yeah, I did. And they were like, cool. How are we going to show that, though? Like what's the image that we're going to give the audience?
I bet they brought the typewriter in.
Either that or he or somebody in his life bought a typewriter to have as a because I'm a writer kind of thing. And they were like, you fucking have that? Like, you type on that and then we'll print it out and then you could be like, I did it.
Yeah, people in writers' lives love buying typewriters for them. It's fucking the worst.
Like, how would you like to write slower and with a ton of noise?
And force. Like, you have to use it, like, do you want hand cramps all the time? And also not be able to delete anything?
Yeah, if you like think real hard about every single letter, because good God, you can fuck this whole thing up in a second.
They do have them that erase.
Not well.
No, they don't erase well, but
No.
they had, you know.
I mean, it's not even a race. They just have like a whiteout spool.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad. All right, we got Mark number 1, aka Hamish.
AKA Megaleg.
He gave them another name to call him, and they won't use it.
Yeah,
And I don't understand why.
It's because they
Rude.
they forgot Hamish, because whenever they see him, they just think Megaleg in their head. It's just,
So,
Mark.
This actually, the bio gives some info on the leg. He lost it in a motorbike accident in 2016,
Sad.
and that directly led to him baking bread as a form of therapy.
Oh, you know what? So I think of him as Bucket Hat Dad because he made the wild choice that for his first video, where they're like, "We're going to show you in your house." Just like this is the first thing people are going to see. And he put on an ill-fitting denim bucket hat to cook for his children in his home.
That's
yeah,
his
they had a shot of it in the video package this week too.
The dude likes his bucket hat.
Right before
Just-
he like had his daughter, he's like, press this button, and she pressed the button on the camera, and he's like, good, that's how you take a picture.
Yeah.
I
Apparently he was also a fervent climber in his youth, I suppose. Probably not as much now.
you can climb with
He
the
became a
prosthetic leg.
landscape photographer. He's also a bronze resin sculptor, and this calls him a support worker, but as they put it, part-time carer.
Yeah, I don't. Is that
I don't
I think that's just like a nursey kind of like home nurse.
like he does like live in
He checks
like
on retarded people.
somebody that can come in and like hi.
He's checking on people. He goes and checks on somebody
Just goes in
who
like you
can't take care of
good.
themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you make your lunch? Did you make your cup noodle? All right, let's make your cup noodle. That kind of thing.
Right. He seems nice. I can't remember a single thing that he baked in this
No.
episode.
He didn't get a lot of screen time.
I can't honestly, I have a hard time remembering any of the bakes in this episode because I felt like they were all stupid.
Yeah, I mean they weren't good. He was runner up for Star Baker because he did probably of the cookie tables. He did
Oh yeah, his looked
like
pretty
the cutest cookie table. Although
who got
each
Star
one
Baker?
of his cookies was like the serial killer did.
good. Oh right. Yes.
Yeah.
Serial killer one for his piece, waiting for tacos.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the taco one.
Waiting for tacos. We've never discussed this. It's weird that they're supposed to title them like art pieces.
Maybe it was supposed to be like waiting for tacos, like Godot, waiting for tacos.
No, I
I
don't
think it was
that
like he didn't make
clever.
tacos, and
He-
so it's like, oh, I'm just waiting for the tacos.
He's an armored guard and pop punk fan. Do you think that he's really familiar with Waiting for Godot?
Maybe there's like a, I don't know, what's that NoFX song that references Waiting for Godot or something?
That's the thing. There's a NoFX song about waiting for Godot.
Fat
That
Mike might
Might
like
be true. Yeah.
that dude, he's so creepy though.
Knows it because it rhymes with Ruby Soho. Oh, that got you too much.
That's one of my least favorite songs ever.
Ruby
That's because
Soho.
it's a horrible song.
Every Rancid song blows.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a bad band.
Rancid confused me so much when I was a kid and people my age were getting into them, and I really, really thought it was like entirely the graphic design that people liked. And they were just like, yeah, I guess that's what the music sounds like. But this fucking logo,
like punk shit.
yeah, you know what you're getting with this logo and when I'm wearing it. I'm a punk.
Rancid.
That, oof.
But that shit, man, that was on MTV a lot too when it came out. They were like one of those videos you couldn't get away from.
Destination Unknown.
Yeah, God, ugh. Let's move. Who else? Oh, we haven't talked about
All right, we got other Mark.
Leprechaun.
We have Mark's cousin Mark.
Yeah, my cousin who has the same name as me.
Leprechaun.
He's from Northern Ireland, which is
Yeah,
where at
he's
least part of my
probably-
family is from.
Yeah, genetically.
He lives in
connected.
Liverpool.
He started doing some real serious, like, mugging to the camera. He's like, and he did one this time where he like kind of gestured over his shoulder. It was somebody behind him and made this look like, I don't know, Jim Halpert kind of.
Oh, weird. You know
Yeah.
what though? He has a weird like normie who lives in the suburb trying to be cool with trends from 6 years ago kind of vibe.
Yeah, I mean,
Where like I think he thinks he is a hipster.
maybe
That seems to
Yeah.
be the kind of where he's wearing like he went to the British equivalent of Target and got like a button-up shirt with little pineapples on it.
Apparently,
Yeah.
he got into baking because there was a pie shop in Edinburgh where he went to college that he went all the time because he was really into their mac and cheese pie.
Somebody needs to be like, I don't believe in prisons or police, but somebody needs to get arrested.
I mean, it's all of the English,
Yeah, all
or
Just-
I guess in this case, the
lock them up.
the Great
Lock-
British. I mean, they already live on islands. You could just like block them off from sea travel.
Yeah.
Our the Wesley Crusher supposed to be Scottish because his showstopper, I guess, had like some haggis thing and
Yeah, he's
reference
from Edinburgh.
Burns.
He's our next one.
Yeah.
He doesn't. I didn't really realize he doesn't come off very Scottish to me.
He doesn't come off as any. He comes up like a Victorian ghost child.
Especially if he's from Edinburgh. Like, I feel like the Edinburgh accent is really... Or no, I'm thinking of Glasgow. The Glasgow accent is, like, really distinct. But I guess Edinburgh is, like, really close to the border with England, so it's probably just a lot more crossover.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't-
The Ghost Boy, what's there to say about him? I mean, he
Love using Scottish ingredients, including berries, whiskey, oats, and honey.
Which he used in this fucking episode.
Yeah,
Is that going to be like a crutch for him? Do y'all think that like he just always is making some like sweet cookie haggis?
I wrote the thing that I wrote down was "fuck you, Peter, and your haggis cookie."
Yeah, I don't.
He and the Blink fan, I feel like are pulling up, trying to be the dudes to beat with their technical wins, and I think Leprechaun is like, I'm getting in that club.
I think he's trying to get into
I'm gonna try.
the technical boys.
By leprechaun, you mean cousin Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
Mark.
Sweet cousin.
Who
Mark.
had a green sweater on this week too. He very green sweater. He's
made, and he was the one who used charcoal in his his showstopper.
And they did a weird thing where like they took a bite and they were like, oh, and I thought they were going to be like, this shit tastes like charcoal, and they're like,
Yeah,
your
me too.
coffee's really strong.
yeah, and then Paul was like, I like it. Paul
Yeah.
didn't think he liked it, and then he did, and then they kind of just left it at that.
It's the choice for multiple people to be like, I'm just going to put like a fuck ton of charcoal in these. Which
I
like,
thought, yeah, I was sure somebody was going to get reamed out over how it tasted like a fucking charcoal briquette, but apparently not.
apparently the charcoal in food has no flavor. It does not add any flavor.
Weird. How is
Seems
that?
surprising.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it
just
does.
carbon, so
If it absorbs really well, it might just like take
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
it absorbs the smell food.
That could be it. I don't know.
All right,
Charcoal
well,
is dirt.
who's next?
right?
Oh, Rowan.
God fucking absolute damn it.
Not long for this world, I hope.
I hardly dare breathe.
Maybe he'll improve. Maybe he'll get a wake up call. And what if he like shocks us all with something really good?
Never gonna happen.
Entirely self-taught, Rowan calls his baking style ostentatious, but he hopes tasteful.
Neither.
Nope.
You can't be both.
That's the fucking thing.
He likes
It's like-
reinventing 18th century recipes whenever he can.
Whenever he can,
Yeah.
which is never.
Yeah, I'll work my hardest. I'll get around to it. I did
I-
my
The
best.
18th century. That's his jam.
That's-
Is the 18th century.
Oh my god.
What is happening in Britain in the 18th century? That's after Cromwell is the Civil War is 1600s there.
Yeah, he seems like I just can't. I really can't with him. I feel like if your thing is that you're like, my shit is going to be gaudy, then fucking go for it.
Yeah, make it look like Mar-a-Lago.
His fucking lighthouse cookie, they couldn't even make the drawing look like it was going to be nice. Like the drawing was like, you know, when they do like bad flute versions of a well-known song,
Mm-hmm.
it was like the visual version of that.
And Rowan probably makes bad flute versions of well-known songs also.
Yeah,
He definitely plays some kind of flute or another.
They show him playing a flute in the first
oh
episode.
fuck, they do.
He's a music professor.
right.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Jeez.
The fact that and then he puts the fucking blinking light in there in his garbage tube cookie.
Yeah. And there was nothing else. There was like there was like some crumbs around it, but he didn't try to make any forks or any other part of the fucking
There was like
brief.
one cookie that was sort of shaped like a seashell and was like a
Oh, it
weird
was so
color.
ugly. It was so ugly.
It
Yeah.
just was like,
It was just
And-
sad.
and he's so fucking proud of himself.
Oh.
He's so proud of himself while also being fully present with the fact that he has overpromised and underdelivered to a shocking degree.
On every single one.
Yeah, where he just rolls up and he's like,
He
I
wants to
thought
be
that
judged
out.
on his intentions, not on his actions.
I don't even know.
He's like, but I had such a nice idea. And they're like, yeah, but you didn't do it. And
Also, no, you didn't. It wasn't a good idea either.
Oh yeah, he said his
Maybe
ideas
just
saved
weren't
him
your
this week.
intentions because they weren't that good.
He was like, my ideas saved me.
Yeah, that dude's living on a whole nother fucking planet. Ain't
Oh.
happening, Rowan. You
I
gotta
can't.
go.
What the fuck do you think
Yeah.
it is like for him
What-
to try to teach
What
you?
they want him to take from it is like take our fucking advice. And what he took from it was like, oh, my ideas, my visions. They see the vision.
But
My
then they
vision, they
fucking
want me-
validated him by not cutting him. Where they,
Yeah.
because they even said they were like, who do you think is not like who fucked up the most this week? They were like, who do you think if we kept them around? Who do you think is the most likely to like get better over time? That
They were
was
like-
the
and
thing.
they're like, definitely not Rowan.
Yeah.
That was the thing they said they were judging on was like who's going to get better over time,
It can-
and then they
It can only
Well,
be
I think
producer.
Matt or Noel said that and suggested it. I don't think that Prue or Paul were the ones saying that who would get better over time. I feel like it was either Matt or Noel who was being like, "You're going to kick Rowan off, right? Like clearly it's time.
I guess
Clearly
that
it's
was
time."
it, that they were like, we can't clearly he cannot continue, and that somebody was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
He's gonna be here until he fucking pisses in one of these
He's
caves.
gonna be the one who gets like a TV deal out of this
He's
fucking
not.
thing.
Yeah, but he'll like show up too late for the first filming and it'll never actually get
Actually,
made.
like, I feel like he can't because he lives so on another planet that I feel like anybody that makes anything would be like, you could put him on more reality TV because it would be like, yeah, like he cannot clock what is happening around him. He can't read the room. He can't take any directions. He just does the thing that he wants to do. And
Poorly.
like for reality TV, that's fucking great.
Yeah.
But he couldn't like host anything.
Yeah, he'll
No.
be on Big Brother or something. That'll be his
Yeah,
other
that's what
gig.
my brother.
There you go. All right, well, we got our final baker,
Sura?
Sura.
Smackies.
Actually, there's also the lady who got kicked off in the first episode, but I didn't put her on here. But we can talk about her if we want.
Eh.
But yeah,
I
so
don't
Sura is I don't know.
Is she a nurse?
She's
Just
a
whatever.
pharmacy dispenser. So I guess she like
Oh.
works in a hospital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's fine.
What is
Um,
a pharmacy dispenser? She's not a pharmacist.
I mean, she probably works with pharmacists.
Yeah, she's probably the one who like counts out the pills or whatever.
Yeah.
He's the dispenser. I don't know.
Yeah. She's,
Or she's the one who like hands it to you.
She's probably supervised by a pharmacist.
Yeah.
Weird.
Something like that.
I feel like she has, her energy is weird.
Yeah.
She seems very annoyed with other people around her.
I think maybe she's going for sassy and
it's just coming off weird.
Yeah, just kind of bitchy.
It's like, yeah, there are a lot of times, especially when, like, I guess Matt had kind of a good moment with her where he came over and he was like, all your shit is like different sizes. Was that intentional? She was like, no, of course it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, you should lie. We're going to try that again. Don't tell me that. And then he was like, are these supposed to be different sizes? And she was like, oh yeah, they are. He was like, there.
Yeah. So, do we actually like any of these bakers?
No.
I feel like Lottie is clearly like the closest entry point for the everyman, and that maybe they'll get comfortable and she'll kind of mellow out or whatever to be more relatable. I don't know.
Maybe Hamish.
Hamish is sweet, but seems so nervous that maybe he'll relax.
He's like on the verge of tears almost all the time.
Yes, he seems very freaked. And then I don't know. There are also people that feel too comfortable, like Blunt Granny and Rowan seem like they're too chilled out in a way that like that's also off-putting.
Yeah, I think it's just gonna have to be one of those things where like we have to see somebody doing what they're really good at, and then their quirks, instead of being like kind of repulsive, suddenly become really interesting, where you're like, oh wow, it's interesting that person who bakes bread this well is that unsure of themselves, or it's like some weird shit like that once we get more time with them.
Based on the deep shittiness of the challenges that they've had so far, though, like I don't like, even if it is something that they're good at, they're probably going to make them do something super fucking dumb, where it's like, oh, you like making bread? Well, you get to make bread in this episode, but
you have to make it into a functional dog house.
It has to be inflatable.
Yeah, like I feel like they need somebody in their writer's room needs to get a note about like, hey, for these challenges, y'all are, because like you don't want them to be so easy that like, all right, you made like cake, who gives a fuck? And you also don't want them to be so hard that everybody panics. And then, because I think like the thing that happened with the showstopper this week was that everybody got so freaked out about it that they're like, I'll just pick something easy. I can't fuck that up. And then they had these things that like, it was never, they did a bad job with it. And even if they had done it perfectly, it was never going to be impressive because they were undershooting, because they were so scared.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you need to make it sound like something that is hard, but that these people are going to think that they can do. Because it's fun to watch when they think that they could do it and then fuck it up. When they don't think they can do it from the jump, that's when, like, it's when they make stuff that's like underwhelming generally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. It's like, it's fun to see someone do good and be proud of themselves too. It's not just like only fun to watch
especially
people
when
fail.
they do good at something that would otherwise be stupid.
Well, I think like with a good challenge, you know that it is a good challenge because you have that bell curve where like a handful of people will do like an amazing job where you're like, holy fuck, you really turn that out, and they're really excited and they walk up and they sort of like they know they're that bitch, and like it's this whole thing that's really great. And you have a lot of people that do like a slightly shittier and shittier and shittier job, and then the few people that really fuck it up, it's even more of a like, oh man, like after this person did that beautiful, incredible thing, you turned in this. And so like the shittiness of it is even more, like the schadenfreude feels even better because you also know that not only did they know they did a bad job, but they're also watching other people around them proving that it is doable. And like with this week, it was like they kind of just proved that it wasn't really a doable challenge, or it wasn't doable for the skill level.
Yeah, the skill level does not seem high.
It really doesn't. And that's really, I feel like for years it's been going up and up where they have people that are like, I'm just a home baker. And then they have made like, but I did make a princess castle out of Rice Krispie treats that was usable for my daughter's birthday.
It's true. Maybe this is a throwback to early seasons when they weren't that good at it.
I really, since I vocalized my theory earlier, I've gone deeper and deeper with it. I think that because they have to do the biodome, I think a lot of these people are probably like third round callback kind of people that like they probably had people that were better that like had jobs that they could not get out of for multiple months, felt weird about leaving their families. Like there would be a lot of reasons why you would be, especially if you were applying for the show thinking it's fine, I only have to go there on the weekend. And then they're like, you got on, but you have to stay here for like 2 months. That like, you know, is somebody's job going to be like, yeah, you just take 2 months off?
You know, I bet they also applied before quarantine and COVID.
Right.
So they didn't even know.
Yeah.
So I bet everybody applied.
Yeah, it was the folks who could take off.
Yeah. I think that's what it is, because I think this is a group of people that don't have the same level of skill, that don't have the same level of like, because I'm sure they do screen tests and shit with people to see like, are you fun to watch? Are you completely losing it? And that they didn't have to go completely to the people that cannot hang, but it seems like I do not believe that these were the actual top choice people.
No, I like your theory. I think it's a solid theory.
Sound.
Now I want to know if there was some way to poll all British people and find out, like, did you apply and then have to say no because you couldn't take this time away from your, like, because a lot of times too, it's like people that have like little kids or whatever. So maybe you would be like, I don't know, my kids are little, like, I don't really feel cool leaving them. Or again, like I'm sure if you don't have 2 months of vacation time that you can just spend in one go, then you wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
Theory.
Well, we'll have to see on Friday if anything exciting deviates from this trajectory we're on. I mean, I feel like this show
it's good. Maybe like patisserie and bread will like be some breakthrough moments.
Yeah, see, maybe people got some good rough puff skills.
Maybe.
I've seen a bunch of things on my little phone when it pops up, you know, it tells me news about things I've mentioned when the phone could hear. And it's been giving me Cake Off news, and it seems like in Britain they're like panning this season and really piling on it, dragging it and stuff. And
that's fun.
And saying like, oh, they're doing this different and these, you know, they're saying a lot of stuff about the challenges are way too hard and I
mean, they're kind of right, but I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, I think the thing is like the core of this, watching people do a competitive bake that has like no prize is good enough that having a slightly better or worse host doesn't, I mean, it's not a deal breaker for me. And even having slightly like less interesting people isn't a deal breaker because it's still a sporting event.
I love this show, and I am not having a not fun time watching it.
Yeah.
But it is a weird, I feel like each year, the group of people, it almost seems like they have archetypes that they're shooting for, that they're like, we need at least one hot woman. We need at least one, like, high school or college age, like, baking wonderkind. We need, like, this kind of, like, cool mom, like, that they...
An elderly man and an elderly woman always got
that like we need at least 2 old people, that they have all of these things where like each year like about half of it is archetypes, and then you have like the extras that like are probably not going to stick around. Because it seems like the people who are the archetypes are usually the people that kind of the like surprising dad, where you're like, oh, you have like the dad that you wouldn't expect is like another
the young one. There's always a young one.
Yeah, that's like your high school or early college kid.
There's usually like a decorating phenom who is sometimes also the archetype of overachiever in all areas.
Yes, there is always at least one like graphic designer or visual art, like somebody who is, like definitely the overachiever, but is the person who like turns the party on the visual side of things. Like they have these categories, and it seemed like this year, which again, to my theory, they're not meeting any of those categories. It feels like everybody is like the weird, like first 6 people who go home, and they just like doubled up on that.
Yeah.
But I'm not having a not fun time. And a thing that I feel like we should start to see pretty soon is these are not people that see each other every weekend. These are people that now live together in the stress of a pandemic, in the stress of being on an internationally known and beloved television show. I feel like
in a time when people are really, really trying to get some of this comforting escapist action,
I feel like, I want to see art. I mean, like fucky shit, but also I feel like art tension's going to boil over because, like, if y'all are all living together in a hotel or whatever, there's nothing else. Like, they have to do this self-contained thing. So, like, they're not going out and doing other stuff. They're not, like, going out and hanging out with other people. They're not going back to their houses. They're not going out to, like, see movies or go to bars or restaurants. It seems like it must be that they're either shooting it or in probably one of those, like, weird, like, long stay hotels that are more apartment-y. And the only people they can hang out with are other people that make the show. So I feel like there has to be some sex shit, but there's also got to be, this was a huge, I realized that my hand motion was not this. I did this.
Yeah.
But, and maybe that's it, is that they're all doing this. But also, I feel like tensions have to boil over where you're like, look, I haven't seen my kids. I haven't been able to leave. I live in this weird long stay hotel. I'm freaked out that the world is ending. And I have to figure out all of these very complicated and difficult to do cooking challenges. And you're always listening to Animal Planet in your room too loud. And I want to like see that, like, is this going to be a more antagonistic bake-off where people, like, are we going to see people sabotage each other's bakes? It did Sura do it on purpose because she was already done.
Yeah. So apparently, Mac wrote a really touching letter when that got released, I guess yesterday, where he said, I mean, he says a lot of nice things, but he ends with, "It was an honor to be a part of a show that was a beacon of light. There's always hope in baking. Let's end oppression and inequality through our kindness and love.
Oh!
Go Bake Off."
He was robbed!
He should have.
He was robbed!
We clearly lost the guy who should have won the whole thing.
Because Rowan seems like the kind of person who isn't really fancy but thinks that he's fancy in a way that I'm sure he has some pretty fucked up.
Oh, yeah, I bet he's totally racist. Because, I mean, if he loves the 18th century
exactly,
so much,
where that's the thing where, like, I feel like he has a lot of, like, troubling, like, figurines and things in his home.
Absolutely.
That there's a lot of, like, well, no, it's a very kind of thing. Maybe that's why he had to sit in that fucking stained chair. Is because he has too many, like, racist figurines all around his home.
Oh my god!
In order to angle it around all of the troubling figurines, they could only do, like, just a tight shot on this one chair. It's fucking gross as shit, but we're never gonna, you have so many figurines, we could never hope to move all of them away. You don't have enough
He's the kind of guy who every time he goes to, like, a flea market or like an estate sale or something, he always gets like the most gaudy thing, And he's like, no, this is like the nicest one. And then it's just like,
Absolutely.
doesn't place it in any kind of thoughtful way or like think about the whole room at all. It's just like 6 chairs in a row lined up against the wall. And
That's part of the thing with the weird stained chair, is that in that room he's sitting on a chair and there's a chair behind him and a chair across from him. Which, like, again, how nasty are those chairs that
Very
y'all
nasty.
couldn't just sit in a different one? Oh my god.
Maybe it was just weird lighting. I mean, it looked weird with like a fabric stain. So I have no
I'm
idea
going
how
to,
that would
can
work
we, before we get off, I need to pull this up and screen share it because I think that it is important.
Yeah, I didn't notice it, so I really do want to see it.
You should turn.
Yeah, mute your stuff.
Yeah.
Mute your microphone. Okay. Now you don't have to listen to her typing.
Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Cool. I need to.
You gotta find it.
Well, yeah, I gotta find it. Why? I wouldn't automatically know exactly where it is. Like at minute 12.75.
We should have just screenshot it last night.
We should have, but I didn't think about it. But I'm
It's
going
okay.
to find it. It's going to be fine.
It's worth it.
Everybody stop freaking out.
Yeah, I feel like as the weeks go by, we'll know to do stuff like screenshot. I also feel like I'd like to figure out an overlay so that we look like we're on Fox News, and maybe we could convince British people that on Fox News they actually talk about the Bake Off and say have really mean names for all of the contestants.
You're terrible cowboy.
It's like weird people in their homes
Can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
talking about it on Fox
I mean,
News.
news pretty much is mostly people zooming in now. I feel like we
That's
could
a
do
good
it.
point.
We could convince some British people that like this is what American news is like, is us sitting around debating like if something is too mean to call the person on Bake
Probably
Off.
the Yargan thing.
Oh,
It's-
okay.
yeah,
I'm
it's-
going to screenshot it then.
Don't share the screen.
Oh, I
Get this-
thought. I mean, that would be
Because Ted Danson will sue us.
Find it, get the screenshot, and then share that. That'll work.
okay.
Rowan's waistcoat Florentines.
So gross.
I think without the waistcoat parts, they look like little pizzas.
Yeah, they look like little.
The
gross-
ones he finished didn't look very good at all.
No,
No,
they all
those
looked like shit.
They looked bad.
And then half of them weren't finished. It was just it's ridiculous. Insult.
Those are the ones that are homophobic.
Here we go. All right.
I gotta find it.
He's actually wearing a T-shirt when he's working in his garden.
Wait. We're just on it. Fuck. I swear to God.
We're working through this.
I need to just let it happen for a second.
Yeah.
Just let the
Rowan.
experience wash over you.
Just let it go.
I'm just making sure that I'm on the right.
Oh, it might not be this part.
It is this part. There it is. Oh, okay. All right. I found it. I'm so happy that I could share this with everyone.
Oh, they blacked out the screenshot. Wow.
Oh my God.
Netflix got nasty.
Oh,
What can I do? Nothing?
I can take a picture of it with my
yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Can you pause?
I mean, it comes through very clearly. It's not weird lighting. It is a stain.
Yeah, it's rough. You can even see it. Look at that.
Holy
Wow.
shit, right?
Oh, you know what?
Isn't it that kind of material you can?
Yeah, it might be that material.
Oh, it's like no.
No,
Well, I guess
no.
it could be a velvety.
No.
You're gonna have to send us the picture because seeing it,
Yeah, it's
like,
not with a glary phone screen.
yeah,
Yeah.
It is, as I'm looking at it, it would be, if it was like that,
that's what it looks like on phone up to the camera.
it,
It
I
might
can just
be.
pull it up. I have the fucking thing.
Oh well, it's it. What's the timestamp?
timestamp is...
Yeah, can't you just share the window that Netflix is in now that you have it paused on the right place?
No,
She tried
because
that.
the DRM blacks it out.
It's wild that Netflix...
They do that. They don't want people not paying for Netflix.
But it's better for them for people to shoot a screenshot.
Are you going to screenshot every frame of a movie and then send it to your friend piece by piece?
No, yeah, and something like this is way better for everyone to send screenshots. To be able to, like, oh my god, look at this insane thing. You know?
Bless you.
What is the
How
timestamp?
great you were by that.
It
That's
was a
fine.
dramatic.
Oh, you said
It was dramatic.
COVID.
I love how they're holding hands in the beginning. It's very sweet. They're in love.
It's around the 14-minute point.
It is around the 14.
I did just text you my picture of it, but
Just look at that. It's going to be so much easier.
Oh, what's they?
I'm positive that it is not like a weird fabric because the edges of it are like a liquid.
Urine.
What?
Urine is the liquid you mean.
Yeah, no, it looks, or I could also
Okay.
believe that he like has stumbled and fallen and spilled like a full pot of coffee on his chair, and then
Yeah.
because he doesn't apparently give a shit about anything, was just like and sat down in it and just kept living his life.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at it on TV right now.
Have any of you guys seen this show Pompidou? It's on Netflix and it stars Matt Lucas.
No.
isn't it like wordless or like it's
Yeah.
all in made up language?
Well, his character doesn't ever say anything that's obviously coherent, but there's like he has a butler. He lives in like a trailer. A dude who is from some aristocratic family that is on extremely hard times, and he still thinks he's an aristocrat. And he has a butler that speaks intelligible language, but Pompidou himself, you can't understand a word he says. It's a pretty good show. The dude who plays his butler is an incredible actor who's also in a lot of Julia Davis's stuff. It's definitely worth at least watching one or two. The Pompidou. It's kind of Mr. Beanish, a little bit Mr. Beanie.
I never got into Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean's fun.
Worth checking out.
don't ever remember watching, there was like a clip or a trailer or something for a Mr. Bean thing where he did something with like snot or whatever. He had some nose thing that even as a child grossed me out so fucking hard that I was like, I'm never, ever going to interact with this because it bothers me so terribly.
All right.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot of Mr. Bean. I remember watching it at my grandmother's house for some
I love Mr. Bean.
It's real good.
I love it.
Oh, well.
It's like like Buster Keaton.
Yeah, I have a concept for a Mr. Bean board game that I really like. Actually, should take quarantine as the opportunity to finally get it off the ground.
Yeah.
develop that shit.
Hell yeah.
On that bombshell, perhaps we should end the stream.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to give away all my good ideas.
Oh yeah, fuck.
Goodbye.
Copyright.
Yeah,
Bye.
Goodbye,
and we'll
Internet.
we'll be back for the next episode with Vronsky. Hopefully he won't be delivering a baked good to
Oh.
faraway states. Because hopefully they'll have
Which is
locked
the
us
not-
all down by then.
Right. All right. Like and subscribe.
Bye.
Peace.